Hi, I'm Amanda Skelton, an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today I'd like to show you how to make this card. First of all, I must apologise to the ladies who came to my November workshop. It's January now, the 11th of January. I meant to have created this tutorial a long time ago, but then Christmas happened. And then I meant to have done it last week, and then I came down with an awful cold, so hasn't been done. But anyway, the good thing is I can show you how to make this card with some of the free products that are in the sale-a-bration catalogue now. So this is the sale-a-bration catalogue. It's running until the 28th of February, and there are some good freebies in here, I have to tell you. So this is what we're going to use here. So for the ladies that came to my workshop, we did this card. So let me show you a couple of other cards. We did this version because it was a December, or it was November, but it was a Christmas themed workshop. So we did this variant of the card, which was using the Sweet Stockings set, which is no longer available because it was in the June to December. But as you can see, you can turn it around, and you've got these little things in here. So I'm going to use the same sort of structure, and the main building block of that is the Give It a Whirl dies, which you'll see in a minute. And just to show just how versatile this set is, this is another one I've done. So again, the same mechanism. So you've still got the scroller here, but again, a very different look using a different set of stamps or dies, but the mechanics, I think it's going to be such a useful card for having the mechanics, the Give It a Whirl die set, which is still available in the annual catalogue. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing today. We're going to use the same mechanisms, but we're going to do this version of the card. I've got some nice butterflies there that she's catching in her net. So yeah, so you've got the different pictures there, and then one of the sentiments in there also fits quite nicely in there. And as you can see, this one's got the circle cut out. This one's got like a segment. There's also a heart. So let me just show you. These are the pieces we're going to use today. Also, we get that one, which is for our little arrow. Tiniest little die there. So we're going to use that one, but you've also got all of these other shapes as well. So you've got some heart ones as well that you can use. That's the segment, and then you've also got stars, and you've got some clouds. This would also be quite a good one for Valentine's Day as well, with the hearts. So that would be quite good. And as I said before, I'm going to use this set in terms of the images. And this is free with a £45 order. This is called Catching Butterflies, and it's a really nice sweet set actually. Really quite good, obviously, for sort of daughters, granddaughters, etc. But it's just, yeah, it's just such a nice design. So that's what we're going to use. Okay, so what do we need? Let's put these to the side. So let me put this down here for a minute. So you need, well, so on this card I've used basic white. On the version of card I'm going to use Blushing Bride, as I'm going to actually use a coloured card rather than the white base. And the reason why is because then I've got the DSP, which again is a freebie within the sale-a-bration, again with a £45 order. So actually I'm using two products, I forgot to say that. I'm actually using two products that are free, so it's quite a nice way to see how you can use them. So yeah, so you want some cardstock, either white or a colour of your choice, and basically it's half A4 scored in half. Then you want some either a white, so on the original card this is a piece of white card, so it's a decent thickness. On this one, because I've got the DSP isn't quite as thick as the white card, so what I've chosen to do is cut out a piece of DSP and a piece of white card, or a piece of card, and layer it on top of each other. So basically, I don't think you probably can't see, but basically I've adhered them together to create a thicker layer, just to support the DSP, because that is more like a paper than a card. So you can choose, it depends on which variant you want to do. You want another piece of card that's going to support the DSP, which is about 4 1/8 inch by 5 3/4 of an inch, and you'll also need the same for the DSP if you're going to do this design. If you want to just use white card and just image the stamping straight onto the card in a similar way to we have here, then you don't need the extra obviously DSP layer. And then you want a little tiny piece of card for the arrow. You don't need it for the stocking and hat images because that was for the other set. Of course, if you're using a different image, a different set of stamps, and you've got dies and you want to die cut them and add them on as layers, then obviously you'll need extra card for that. So as I've said, we're going to use the Give It a Whirl dies. We're going to use the Catching Butterfly stamps. I'm going to use some stamping blends to colour in the image. I'm going to use black ink and I'm going to use a brad. I've got some foam sticky pads, dimensionals, and I've got my cut and emboss machine. So that should be everything we need to get started. Okay, let me move that out of the way. So, as I've said, we have our card base here. So just fold that one in half. And then, like I said before, I'm going to... oh, actually, what I didn't say, on there, is the 4 by 4 inch of white card for the spinner. So that's what you'll also need. So yeah, so I've got the same colour as my cardstock to put on the back of my DSP, just to, as you can see, that's quite thick. That's a little bit flimsier, so once it's actually raised up on dimensionals, it's not going to be very strong. If you're going to adhere it straight, well, you can't actually adhere it straight onto there, otherwise you're not going to be able to have your spinning mechanism. You need to have that gap between the layers in order to allow the wheel to move. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is create this front panel. Now, I did it with the cutout, so I'm hoping it'll work with the actual edge section. But I was able to cut both the card and the DSP with the same die at the same time. So you don't have to, but in fact I might not on this one because I know that the die is quite a heavy duty die, so I probably won't on this time, but if you wanted to, you can do. So on this one, because obviously the piece of card is, or the die is the same die, I haven't got to worry about any positioning because we're going to stick them together in a minute. So, well, actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it slightly different to how I did it in my real life. What I'm going to do is, no, I won't. I'll stick to how I did it. Can't decide. I used to be decisive. Now I'm not so sure. Right, so let's do it how I did it before. So you want to use the main part. I'm just going to see that the hole's in there. Right, the good thing about these dies is, if you can see, oh, that's got a piece in it as well. Oh, if I can get that out. Oh, that's my pencil gone. These have all got a little hole here, and this has got a hole in the middle with pencil all around it, and the little cutouts also have these holes, and that helps you to place them all together, which you'll see in a minute. So that is really useful. So let's cut the base. And as you can see, there's a hole being left there, which will help us in a minute. And then we want to do the same for the paper, the design DSP. I'll show you all the colours that this comes in a minute. So there's two sides to this. It's like a more sort of marbled effect, and then sort of like a rainwater sort of effect. I'm going to use the rainwater because I want a paler colour, because I'm going to stamp and ink onto it. So, and I'm going to use this side so that I've got the paler colours. So I'm going to do something like that. So you put it on properly. There we go. Oh, that's quite a strong dye, this one. I think I've used it quite a lot, and you can see it's starting to bend a bit. And I'm sure if I move it back around, if I use it a different way, I'm sure it will go back fine. Right, so that's our 2 pieces of card. And then while we're here, we will cut our wheel, which will be the turning circle part. If I can find the piece. Goes through so much better. And again, you can see the hole in the middle. And then while we're here, we can do a tiny little arrow. So you can see the 2 arrows on there. So you need a tiny bit of scrap card for that. And I'm going to do this on white because my background is coloured. So you want a nice colour to contrast so that you can see that it's telling you to turn the spinner. There you go. If I can get it off, there you go. Okay. I'm just going to put that one somewhere safe because that's so tiny. I'll just drop the die. Found it. Okay. So the other thing that we're going to then do is, so I'm just taking the paper out of there. Right, the other thing that we're going to then want to do is place these both together, and I'm going to in fact, what I think I might do, if you want to, you can glue it at this stage, and then you know that they're definitely going to stay together, which I think I might quickly do. So, because you want to make sure that this aperture cuts through both at the same place, then we just want to make sure. So I'm going to use double-sided glue tape. I'm going to do it on the back of the DSP. It doesn't matter which you do because they're both the same size. Okay, so this wants to, I find the easiest way I found to line it up was to hold them both sort of on their edge, so that you know that the bottom edge at least is lining up, and then just offer it to each other. And because you've got, even if it's slightly off, because the back colour is the same as your base, you're not going to notice it as much. Okay, that's the other reason for using the same colour here as your backing here. Help you to do that. Okay, so now we'll get the die cutting machine back, and then once we've done this, we're done with this machine. So just then I know that when I cut this, it's definitely, so now this is where you're going to line up the circle here with this circle here. And you can put it wherever you like, but because I want it to look like she's catching the butterflies in the aperture, I'm going to put it slightly off centre. Don't have it too close to here, otherwise it'll make it quite close to there. So, and then gently put your top layer on. Oh, it's moved a bit. You can probably see it better than I can being on top of it. Okay. Okay. And there you can see it's actually gone through both layers. I'm going to keep that. I'll use it for another project. Something with bubbles or circles, I'm not sure. Okay. So if I just go back to that DSP a minute. So this is the pack of the DSP. Again, this is one of the free ones in the Sale-a-bration catalogue. So you've got, I think there's 12 different colours. So I think they're different colours on the back and obviously different patterns. So you've got a more muted sort of subtle colour on the front and a much more sort of like water sort of mark design. And then this is a very much stronger, almost sort of marble effect, which is quite nice. So depending on what your project is, one will look better than the other. This will be quite good for C, I should think. And the grey is going to be quite good for doing male projects. And I know that there's like a robots, I think there's a nuts and bolts in the new catalogue, which I think will go really well with that. Okay, so now we have our front layer, and we've got this layer. So now what we want to do is we want to stamp the images that are going to show. So you can see again the holes will line up, and we'll put a brad through them in a minute. So we're going to stamp the images that are going to come in here. Now I don't know if you can see if it shows up very well, but when you cut, die cut it, it's got a very slight imprint of the segments, the same as this one. So it's got a slight imprint. I don't know if you can see it. So that helps you to show where the 3 segments are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up so I can see where the holes are. So I'm going to line up the holes, and I know that I've got one of the segments there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a pencil, and I'm going to draw the inner side of the aperture. Okay, I'm going to turn it around until I get to the other aperture. So again, you want to make sure that you're roughly within. So you can see there, I've not actually got it in line at all, but I'm going to adjust it. You just want to make sure that you've got them evenly spread. Best thing to do is try and use these as your guides. So I'm going to do it slightly off, just because that first one is slightly off. If I can find the hole again. So again, I'm going to draw a circle, and then I know that my third one is going to be over here. Again, lined up the holes. Okay, so they're not, I haven't actually got them that close to these things, but you can see that I've roughly got them similar areas. Okay, so now we can do some stamping. So the Celebrate Every Beautiful Thing is one of the stamps in the Catching Butterflies set that will fit within the aperture. Remember that when you're stamping, especially if you've got something that is directional, make sure that it is facing the middle, because it's obviously going to be at the top. Unless, of course, you've got the aperture at the bottom, in which case you obviously need to do it the other way around. But if you've got it at the top, you obviously want to make sure that the writing is sort of that way up, if you get what I mean. Okay, so we just want some black Memento ink. And I'm going to do this in black. And you want to just make sure that it goes within the circle. And I have to go over it a little bit, just So there you go. There you can see that that is within the circle. Now, what I'm going to do for the others, I'm going to do the range of butterflies, which is again within the Catching Butterflies stamp set. And I'm going to do that on there. And this is why it doesn't matter really. It doesn't matter if you go over your circles. It's just for you to know that it's going to at least show when the window is showing. And I've done it sort of slightly that way because I can see that those two are closer together. And then I'm just going to use this little individual butterfly. And I'm just going to do 3 within this aperture. Okay. And then just let that dry a minute. And then what we want to do is we want to stamp the lady, the girl, onto the front. And again, you want to position her so that she's not where the hole is going to be, because you're going to need to put your brad in there, so you don't really want it to affect the design, and make sure that she fits on. So probably about there. Okay. And then again, I'm going to use the individual butterfly. You can use the set of butterflies if you want to. And I'm just going to add a couple more up on there. I think I've had 3 on the other one, but I'm going to do 2 on here, I think. Depends how much space you've got. Okay, so that's probably enough of the stamping. So now we're going to colour in the girl's skirt, hair, and the butterflies. So I'm using a dark Flirty Flamingo for the skirt, which comes out quite a similar colour to the cardstock. And you want a stronger colour anyway, because obviously it's on a patterned background, so I just want to make sure it tones in nicely. I don't know why I've used the thin side for this change. I normally use the paintbrush end, but anyway, we'll go with this. Sometimes it can give a slightly different texture if you start in one and go on the other, so I shall stick with what I'm doing. Okay, that goes quite well. And then I'm going to use bronze blend for the hair, and again I'm going to use the thin tip because there's some quite delicate areas on here. So you just want to colour her hair in brown. Oh, I do know actually that they have just released, I believe as part of the new brochure, the new January to June 2022. God, that sounds really futuristic, doesn't it? In that brochure, I know that they are have brought out a new set of blends, and I can't remember what the exact name is. I don't know if it's Nature's Blends or something, or Natural Tones, and it's basically lots of different coloured I suppose skin tones. I think that's what it's been used to sort of try and help with different skin tones. So they're different sort of browns and flesh colours, which I think will be really useful as well, because I think pretty much at the moment I use ivory, which is a really good colour, but it's okay if you're you're white skinned, so it's really good for other colours. Coloured skins. And then I'm just going to use my dark old olive, which is my Old Faithful. So I'm just going to add just a couple of different colours here for these other butterflies. I thought green would go quite well with the sort of salmon pinky tones. And then I'm just going to do what am I using here? Dark Highland Heather. I'm using for the other butterfly, but obviously you can use whatever colours tone in with the card and paper you've chosen. Okay, so that's our front section, and now we need to just colour in our so I'm going to use the same three, or the same three colours for the individual butterflies. Oh, I meant to have used green then, but never mind. I use green on this one. And then, actually, I want to use, what did I have? Flamingo. I'm going to use the light and the dark then for this one, just to give it a different tone. So because we've got two lots of butterflies, I mean, obviously you can have three very different images if you like. There's sort of like this grass, or you might want to try and get a different sentiment in if you want to. If it's an age birthday, you could put an age, you know, number in there, which would be really good. Or if you've got a happy birthday that will fit in, then that will also go really well. So yeah, so I'm just going to use sort of two different tones. So I'm going to use the small one again, two smaller images. So I'm going to use just two tones, and just to make it obvious that this is a different sort of section of the wheel really when you turn the images around. So I'm going to make this lighter. So I'm making the big ones, I'm colouring the big ones in lighter, and I'm going to add some darker detail because there's sort of like the different sections there. And then I'm going to use a darker one for the smaller butterflies. And then I'm just going to add a little fleck on the wings of the bigger butterflies. It just makes it a bit more 3D. You don't even have to blend it particularly, you just, you know, add on a little section like that. You can blend it if you want to by adding the light layer again on top of it, but I don't think I need to for that size of image. So now we are ready to assemble. So what we will do is, so I've got a brad here now. I think there's only white and black sort of square brads in the catalogue at the moment. So actually I'm going to use a different one to that because that colour, no, that's too big. I might be able to go for, let's see what I've got here. So this is just a selection I had from before. I might use the green, considering, yeah, I think I'll use the green because it will go with the green bit there. Okay, so just want to find a brad. Again, you don't want it to be too big, it needs to be able to fit through the hole that's been created for you. Put it through the wheel. So what you can do then is you can do that, and then you can just check that it goes around. So you can see the different sections, and you've got that section. Before you attach it though, what I haven't done is removed my pencil lines. So just grab a pencil. You can do this before you colour them in if you want to. I should have done really. So just grab rid of that. And then nobody knows your secret as to how you got them placed. So again, get your brad, put it through the front section first, your front layer, and then put it through your back layer, and then it's just a split pin basically. So then do that. Try not to do it too tight, otherwise it won't turn very easily, but it obviously needs to be fairly structured. Okay, so I'll probably leave it with that's probably how I'll leave it to start with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, in order to make this work, you need to have a bit of a gap between this layer and this layer. So I'm just going to use some foam pads. This is a really old foam pad section that I had before. What you want to make sure is that you don't put it on here, otherwise it won't move once it's adhered to here. So you just want to put it onto these sections. So I'm just going to cut some pieces here. top. Oh, my scissors are going to be a mess after this. Dimensionals would be so much easier where you just take them off of the sheet rather than having to cut them off of a roll. It's only because I found this in a cupboard I thought I ought to clear out some of the stuff that I've already got. Right, so there we have. What I might do actually is put a little bit here and here just to support the edges. So I'm just going to do piece there, but again, just make sure you avoid the spinner wheel. Okay, so most of them have come off. That one needs to come off. That one needs to come off. That one needs to come off. There you go. So then we can adhere it to our base. Okay, you want to make sure you've got plenty of space both sides. Okay, and there you go, you can see that you can turn it. Okay, and then one last thing to do is to add our arrow, just to show that that they need to be spinning that. Okay, so I'm just going to literally use a bit of, if I can get hold of it, tiny bit of liquid glue. She says, come on glue. It's gunked up on me. Got to come out in loads now. Come on. Yes, it never happens. Hang on, let me just go and find a different glue. Right, let's try now. There you go. I only used the other one the other day. Doesn't normally happen. Anyway. Okay, so just a tiny bit of glue. And then you want to just add it on to the base. I'm not going to fuss with it too much because I know that my fingers are gluey after that. You just want to make sure it's pushed down well. And that is your card. So you've got your spinner with your different images. And you've used your free sale-a-bration cardstock, which is called, well, I didn't say what it was called, did I? It is called Simply Marbleous, as in marble. So that's very apt. And then that's probably how I shall give the card with the sentiment there. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully that has given you a little bit of an insight into some of the free products you can earn as part of the sale-a-bration event. If you would like a catalogue, both the new January to June, so we've got the January to June new catalogue that's just come out as well, and then up until February the 28th you can then earn free products for any order over £45 from products from the mini catalogue or from the annual catalogue. So yeah, and there's some really, so this is using the Awesome Otters, and that's also using the free Marbleous papers, but there's some really nice free things in here, and some really nice sets actually in the mini catalogue. So if you want a catalogue, please do contact me. You can find me at amandascraftedcards.stampinup.net. You can find me on Facebook as Amanda's Crafted Cards, and you can find me on Pinterest as well as Amanda's Crafted Cards, or you can email me at amanda_skelton@hotmail.com, and I'll be happy to send you a catalogue if you'd like one, or if you need any help placing an order, obviously let me know as well. So again, you just need to make sure that if you're interested in the free products, you probably want to get your orders in sooner rather than later. Once the products go, they go, because it's a limited period for the event, 2 months. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I shall see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.